Okay, in this video, we're going to do some investment property analysis. We're going to run some numbers, but first I want to show you what the property is and what it looks like actually on site. Now it's occupied, so we're not going to be able to get in all these units, but we're just going to do a quick little check out the neighborhood, look at the exterior, kind of see what we're dealing with and what the property looks like, you know, mostly from the outside. But the biggest thing is making sure the numbers work. So let's walk around, kind of check it out real quick. Then I'm gonna jump on my computer and break down the numbers. So the city just put in new sidewalks, as you can see. Don't really understand why they would spend the money on that, but whatever. So this is the back part of the property right here. So it's got a huge fenced-in backyard. And what we have a duplex, so we have a brick duplex. We have a fourplex, which is 1 bedroom, 1 bath units. So 4 1 bedroom, 1 bath, and a duplex brick. Now, according to the agent and the MLS information on this property, the roofs were replaced in 2018, and it had brand new HVAC systems put in 2018. So there's a big boat shop here right next door. Okay, there's our fourplex. And the duplex. So supposedly both dwellings have brand new roofs. The fourplex here supposedly has new siding in 2018 and new HVAC units. So yeah, it did say they had new hardy plank siding and some new paint, but you can see they've got chains in the HVAC system, so that's not a good sign. Okay, so let's go in and check out this unit. Okay, so this is 1 bedroom, 1 bath unit here. They said they did updates in 2018. They all have tile floors. It said new appliances. Appliances don't look bad. One thing I can tell already that there was a heavy smoker in here because it smells really, really bad of smoke, which is not good, especially for a rental. Okay, so here's your 1 bedroom. Another thing, you have original windows in this unit. That's not good. All right, now that we've seen the outside, now it's time to look at some numbers. I'm gonna go over 3 things today. We're gonna talk about the gross rent multiplier, we're gonna talk about return on investment, and we're gonna discuss the capitalization rate. I'm also gonna run 2 sets of numbers. We're gonna look at the current rents as they are right this minute, as it sits right now, and we're gonna look at rents if they were increased to an amount I feel they probably could be increased to. So let's jump right into it. Let's take a look at each unit and what they're getting for rents. Unit 1 is getting $700 a month, and Unit 2, $650 a month for the duplex, which is a total of $1,350. The quadplex is getting $580, $575, $630, and $600. Now Unit 1 and 2 are upstairs, and Unit 3 and 4 downstairs. And Unit 4 is actually vacant right now, but we're going to use the old rent at $600 for this video. And that gives you a total of $23.85. So if we take $13.50 plus $23.85, we get a monthly gross rent of $37.35 times 12 months equals $44,820. So that's the annual gross rents we're going to use for this video and for our calculations. And this is the current rents right now. So the numbers in red are what I'm suggesting it could be increased to. I think you can get $890 for each unit in the duplex, and you can bump up the quadplex. I think these rents right now are really low, honestly. They just don't make any sense. They're just really low, even though, you know, it's a quadplex. It's only 1 bedroom, 1 bath units, and the location isn't the greatest in the world. The rents right now are still low. So if we increase the rents to this much, you're looking at a total of $1,780 on the duplex and $2,750 on the quadplex. And that's going to give you a grand total of $54,360 for the annual gross rents. So the first number we're going to talk about is going to be the Gross Rent Multiplier, or your GRM. And it's just a ratio of the subject's property's price to its gross rental income. Now, you never make a decision based on the gross rent multiplier. Do not ever make a decision on purchasing something just on this figure alone. It's just a way to gauge the values with other properties, but it is not something to be used by itself to make a decision. And your gross rent multiplier is your purchase price divided by your annual gross rents. And real quick, I just want to show you an example. I couldn't find one for Santa Rosa County, Florida, but this is one for Escambia County, and their GRM is 7.52. So I'm going to use that figure, 7.52, because it's the only one I could find in writing anywhere. So, and it's going to be very similar to Santa Rosa County. So if you use your existing rents right now, your purchase price is going to be $429 divided by $44,820, which gives you a GRM of 9.57. If you use the increased rents of $54,360, that's going to give you a GRM of 7.89. And the 7.89 is a lot more realistic going with the 7.52. Another way to look at this, and another way that you can calculate a purchase price, as long as you have your annual gross income and you have a legitimate GRM, gross rent multiplier, you can figure out a target purchase price. So let's take $44,820 times 7.52, and this is the number that I just showed you that I pulled online for Escambia County. And we're just going to use this number to show. That's going to give you a purchase price of $337,000 at the current rents right now. Now, if you use the increased rents of $54,360 at 7.52, you're going to get a purchase price of $408,787. And honestly, that seems a lot more realistic than the current price. That still might be a little bit high, but you see right there, if you use the 7.52, what the numbers show you. All right, the next thing we're talking about is the return on investment. And your ROI is your annual gross rents divided by your total cash investment, okay? Your total cash investment. Say you're buying this property for cash, your purchase price, your closing cost, any repairs, anything you have to spend money on to get it rentable is going to be your total cash investment. So if we take $44,820, which is the current rents, and we use a figure of $435, now you can look at this any way you want. You can look at it, you buying it for $420, putting $15 into it. You can look at you paying full price $429 and putting $6,000 in closing costs and fix up. I'm just using the number $435 because I think that's kind of realistic. That's going to give you an ROI of 10.30%. But if you use the increased rents, now you're looking at 12.50. I think this number is all up to the investor. I know a lot of people really want 15%. I hear that a lot. So these numbers aren't making quite 15%, but 12.5 is not too bad. Okay, let's talk about the capitalization rate. And this one's a little more complicated, but it's really not that hard. Your cap rate is going to be your net operating income divided by your current market value times 100. And your current market value is your purchase price. So net operating income divided by your purchase price times 100. Now, you get your net operating income from your gross rents times the occupancy rate minus operating expenses, okay? So if we have a purchase price of $429, we have our annual gross rents of $44,820 times our vacancy rate. I'm going to use 95% because I think that's legitimate with these units. I don't think they would stay vacant very long. I think you'd probably have somebody fill in a spot as soon as one became available, depending on the rents, of course. But using that, it comes out to $42,579. And I'm going to use operating expenses of $9,500. I don't have anything concrete for this. I know the taxes, have no idea about the insurance, property management fees, repairs, all the other stuff. But I'm just going to use the figure of $9,500 for this. That's going to give you a net operating income of $33,079. So if we go back up to the top and we plug in $33,079 as our net operating income, our market value, which is our purchase price times 100, that's going to give us a cap rate of 7.71. Okay, so currently as it sits right now with these estimates, you're looking at 7.71 cap rate. So if we do the same thing, but we use the increased rents this time, $54,360 times 95% vacancy is going to equal $51,642. Operating expenses $9,500, same thing. It's going to give us a net operating income of $42,142. So you plug that in up top again in a formula, and that's going to give you a 9.82 cap rate. Now, once again, I think this number is going to be just really indicative of whatever the investor is looking for. I've always heard and been told you want to have it between 8 and 12, somewhere in that range, just close to 10. So there you go. Now let's take a look one more time at all three of these different numbers and compare them with the current rates compared to the increased rates. So your first one, you got a 9.57. Then you've got a 7.89 for your GRM. Your cap rate 7.71 right now, and it could be a 9.82. And your rate of return is 10.3, and it could be a 12.5. Now just remember, these are just rough numbers. The more accurate numbers you have, the better off you're going to be to really nailing these numbers. But this just gives you an idea of what it looks like, how you calculate them, and 3 different ways that you can evaluate income producing properties. Okay, so there are the numbers. Really, it's up to the investor to decide what they think makes sense. Do those numbers work for you? They're not bad, but there's really 2 different things here. One part's the numbers. Do they make sense on paper? The next part is, what are you actually buying? And what I don't like about this particular multi-unit complex is really the location and the age. Even though it has some newer things to it, I just don't like dealing with properties that old, especially when they're rentals. Especially if I was going to be shelling out, $400,000. Now, the other issue is these aren't going to be financeable because there's 2 units on one parcel. It's going to have to be a commercial loan. So if you don't go that way, the only other way to buy them is pay cash. In my opinion, I would rather save my cash for something that makes a little bit better sense and is not going to probably nickel and dime me to death. And my experience over time is when you deal with properties this old, they tend to nickel and dime you to death. So anyway, that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'll be glad to answer. As always, please hit the like button. Make sure and subscribe if you haven't. And as always, have a great day. Thanks.